Now, Barrick Gold's proposed takeover of Equinox, we're seeing a traditional gold miner looking for a big move into copper. And that's led to chatter about the outlook for both commodities. One of Australia's most ambitious gold mining companies is Kingsgate Consolidated, with projects in Thailand, Australia and now South America too. I spoke to the Chief Executive Officer, Gavin, on location in Thailand via Skype earlier today. Well, Gavin up there at Chattree, thank you for joining us.
Pleasure.
Let's talk about the big deal first. Barrick's bid for Equinox was too much for the Chinese min-metals. Was Andrew Mitchell right that the price was just too toppy?
Oh, I think that what you're seeing is Barrick is determined to carry out what they said they're doing. They want more exposure to copper, and it definitely shows you the lack of high-quality, good projects around the world, whether it be gold, copper, or whatever. And if you're going to grow and have a growth profile, and be at the top end of the quality stakes, you've got to be prepared to bid high and strong.
The deal does rely on a pretty bullish outlook for copper, doesn't it?
Oh, I think that it's very clear that China is growing. It's going to continue to need copper, as is India. The growth story is well understood by the world right now. And from the mining side, the supply side, we know that we can't supply enough of it. Look at the copper porphyries that are still not developed in Peru. We have and Argentina, the Andean copper chain hasn't been developed yet because we can't get the capital ready for it. There is a chronic shortage of metals around the world from the supply side, and as geologists, we can't find them quickly enough. So the good ones will be in demand.
There was actually speculation overnight that Barrick might think there's a stronger outlook for copper than there is for gold. What do you make of their strategy?
Oh, I think that the people who think that gold is in a bubble is totally incorrect. If we go back and look at the historical numbers of the gold price, we are at record levels. But if we go back and compare the rises relative to where it was, there was a clear bubble in 1980. We have just had a long, steady 10-year increase in gold price, and we're nowhere near the bubble furor. I think the other thing is that what stopped the gold bubble last time was Paul Volcker was able to increase interest rates to 17 to 20%, dramatically cut inflation. America is essentially at negative real interest rates right now, and there is no way that they can use their monetary policy, their interest rate policy, to control the potential runaway inflation. They're printing money, you're buying back their treasury bonds right now, and I see a long-term positive outlook for gold, although I also see a long-term positive view for copper as well.
And what sort of impact does Japan now have on the outlook for gold prices?
Oh, I think that what's happening with Japan is that they're clearly needing a lot of money for reconstruction. They are a very, very large holder of treasury bonds, US treasury bonds, and I think that you'll see them trying to sell some of those to pay for that construction. The US will have to buy them back using their paper, and that will be positive for gold in the longer term. It will also lead to an increase in worldwide inflation, where currently the world is roughly somewhere between 2 and 2.5% inflation. Everyone is agreeing that inflation is going to rise higher, somewhere closer to 4% in a year or so. If that is the case, the $90 trillion worth of bonds will be down 10%, and you'll see some of that money, that $9 trillion worth of bond money, moving elsewhere, looking for hard assets, and gold will be one of those hard assets they'll move into.
Well, it's very nice to talk to a chief executive in the field. At Chattree Mine, you got planning approvals, I know, last month to proceed with your higher grade C North Pit area. What about road authorities, and will that have an impact on annual production?
That's part of the reason why I'm here, Dickie, trying to ensure that they're very close to coming through. We've announced that there's been a problem because of these high grades meeting our forecast production. That will all be in the second half, and we should have a good, strong year next year. Our plant expansion is coming along well. I've just literally walked back in a few minutes ago from it. We're on time and on budget, and that will be delivering gold at a much higher rate in the month of September. Things are, we've had a rough 4 to 5 months, but we will bounce back very strongly. And I think in terms of value, we're great. We're on a potential cash flow multiple of 4 to 5, when most gold companies of our size would be 10 or more.
And you're still confident about business risk in Thailand?
Oh, I think that it doesn't matter where you go in the world. Chatri is a quality asset, and you have to balance that quality asset risk against operating, whether you be here in Thailand, Southeast Asia, pick any country you like, or Australia. There are changes. Look at the Australian dollar exchange rate. The impact on Australian operations of that has been significant. I think that this is a higher risk, higher reward country. We've been here for many years. We're very happy to work in this environment, and certainly it's a lot less risky than many environments I've worked in the past.
You're now bedding down the Dominion acquisition from February. Are you pleased with what you bought out there at the Challenger mine in Australia, and indeed a little bit further west of Challenger?
Challenger mine was an unloved asset. We've been looking at it for a long time. We took a long, careful, hard look at it, and we think it's an inexpensive purchase for us. We think that there's a lot more gold there. People are talking 4 to 10 years. I personally think that there's a lot more. We're doing some drilling to confirm that work. I think that we'll demonstrate in the next 6 months that we'll have a much longer profile. Before I can formalise any hard answers there, we need about another 3 to 4 months' work. We're very, very happy with the team that's come with the Challenger acquisition. They are top-rate underground miners, and we'll be able to use that expertise to great efficiency and benefit here in Thailand.
Well, it seems only yesterday that you floated New Guinea mining back in the 80s. Gavin Thomas, I thank you very much for joining us from Chatri.
Tiki, it's always a pleasure. You're still one of the best presenters on business.